Hello YouTube. This video I'm going to do a bit more detail on how I made my river. You may have seen a bit in previous video. It didn't actually take me that long. It's not quicker than I thought. I'm going to start over here on top of the bank. This is just like wire wool. I broke it down into sort of like thin pieces and then started to pull it out to give the effect of sort of grass. I then gave it a dark green colour. I then threw a little bit of green scat over the top to just give a bit more detail, and then I dabbed just with a paintbrush yellow all over it, and that there sort of gave a bit more of a summery effect. Also a little bit down under the tree if you can see it, and on the other side of the bank. Obviously around rivers you have reeds and stuff. Now to do this here, I just use small pieces of straw, cut them down to length. As you can see, they're quite long, some a bit shorter. Cut it down to length, then just glued them on while I was making the river, so they're stuck into the actual PVA glue for the river. I then added a bit more detail, like you can see there's some rocks falling in, a few down there just next to the reeds. The next job I did was all this detailing down there, as you can see. That's like a drain from a field or something. That again was just made with the same wood as the board, cut into shape, and then placed in the bank while I was building it. Gave it a grey colour, and again added some green scat for details. A bit of green around the top. Can't see it very clearly just there. I've also used some lichen down the bottom here and here mainly. Add a bit more sort of like weeds and stuff around there. That there again was just glued down after everything. Now the actual water, for this I painted the base, you can see from the top, a bluey sort of colour. Bit of greens in there, and around with my fingers you can see the white. That there is actually around a little stone. It's a bit clearer just there. Some stones in there with white around it, like ripply water. That's all on the bottom of it. Then I put a piece of wood here to create a side, and then poured in the glue, spread it all over so it was a flat layer, and I had to leave it for almost a week to completely dry solid. After it had dried, you can see here it's got a slight green tinge to it. I didn't actually do that. That seems to have come out with the PVA glue. I think it was because the brush I was using I'd also used in the green paint earlier. But saying that, I actually really like the effect it's come out with. The green sort of makes it a little bit more realistic instead of just blue. There's a few swirls in there as well, a bit of black paint and stuff like that. I just mixed in as it was sort of setting off. Now the green you can see on the top, that is quite literally just PVA glue, and then a thin layer of scat all the way around, just grass scat. That there gives the illusion of floating sort of lily pads on the top. I did quite a bit under the bridge. Can't really see it, there's not enough light there. The last job I did for this was actually I placed this bridge in. I said in an earlier video that I built this myself. It's actually built into the layout at this end and sticks out above at this end, which you can see. But I'm going to stick a board all the way along here, and then paint that grey so you can't actually see any of this edging and all this wood and stuff. But this bridge took me, I don't know, it took me a few days to get this right, because every time I tried it, these little wooden posts here just kept breaking. In the end I had to dip them in glue before I cut them, so it was all held together around the outside, and that seemed to work really well. The last job I did was painted it all. You can see some green along the edges all along here, a bit of brown for the road surface in the middle, scat. Again I used some scat, I don't know, I just seem to have quite a lot of it and it looks quite good detail, just a little just along here. The wires you can see, that's just the inside of a copper wire. I twisted it together, covered it in PVA glue so it wouldn't unwind, and then just wrapped it around the ends. You can see there, they've been wrapped around and then glued down. The reason for the copper wire was obviously the colour, so it looks like they're slightly rusted. That there is how I basically made my river scene. Once it was finished though, it looked a bit plain, a bit low, all the same height, so I added this tree. Now in a later video I'm going to show you how I make my trees. They're really quite simple. This one's just from a big twig, bit of lichen stuck down, and it's sort of coming out of the bank, like leaning over the river. Quite a nice effect if I show you from this way. You can sort of see in there that it's attached to the bank, sort of into the bank. A bit of lichen around the bottom like a hedge. The final bit of detailing I did was just there, lichen like a hedge going down to the side of the river. There is a few more bits I've got to do to this to make it final, sort of all finished off. It's a bit of scat, mostly around here. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a bit flat there. I need some grass sort of like poking up between all the rocks and stuff like that. That there will hopefully finish off this scene, make it look really quite nice and quite realistic. So far this bit here has cost me nothing. I found everything just in my shed. The gravel's actually from my old fish tank. The PVA glue I have in a big 5-litre can, had that lying around. The wire mesh, again, I had that lying around, so I just used that. The paint, again, I found that in the shed. So far this has cost me nothing to make. This area at least has cost me nothing. I think I'm trying to work out how much this layout's going to cost me. Minus the trains and wagons and controllers, I'm thinking about £25–30, assuming I can keep finding stuff like I have for this area. So hopefully that will happen quite quickly. I'll just give you a few little shots around this, and then I'll say goodbye. Okay then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave comments. Anything. If you have any questions as well, if you leave a comment, I'll reply to that. Sort of anything, how I did stuff. The last thing to say is I'm still looking for a name for this layout. Any suggestions, please just leave a comment. And I will try and pick a name within the next 2 weeks. And get a sign made up.